Well, good afternoon. So good to see you all. Just want to wait another minute before actually starting. Okay. 2 o'clock my time. Could be different where you are. Welcome to Vision Circle. And I have a question for you. What does surrender mean to you? How do you use it? How do you apply it? How does it work for you? Is it something you've even given any thought to? While you think about that, I think what I'll do is set the circle. I'll give you guys a couple of minutes to think about it. So I'm going to call in the PTOs and our tag team to scan our circle, the consciousness within our circle and around our circle and around our community, wherever we are. And anything not of our to identify and neutralize and remove it. And to continue scanning while we are in circle. And setting up the red rock vortex. And not allowing anything not of our light into our circle. And call in any other teams that you work with to support you or as part of your protection. This is when we want to do that. And I want to invite all the light workers to support us. And I like to call in the 4 directions to bring harmony. Earth, air, fire, and water. Each one a most amazing power within itself, but together it can create a balance, a harmony that supports, sustains, and maintains life at its fullest. We call that in. And we have our protection and we have our support. Something else. Calling in the energy of new beginnings from the East. The wild and crazy, high energy of our youth. All the wild women. Calling their energy. And in the East, the maturity, moving from our head and our ego and our doing to our being. In the beginning of wisdom, we call in your energy to support us. And from the North, the wisdom keepers, the teachers, the wise women, and the gentle warriors, men and women. We call you all in to support us in this phase of our life and in all phases of our life. And we give you thanks for all your energies and all your teachings and all your holding of energy and wisdom. And in our gratitude, our circle is set. And welcome. And the question is, what does surrender mean to you? How do you apply it? How does it work for you? What does it give you? Where does it take you? What does it bring you? Or if you've never thought about surrender, I am finding new levels of understanding in surrender for myself within my own experience. And what I'm finding most fascinating is I have worked at surrender and not been able to accomplish it by working at it. But when I absolutely give up, even if it means I die, and it has felt that way, many times it has felt like, okay, I'm giving up. I don't know what it means, but it feels like it's a death. And I went ahead and did it anyway. And it was a death of the old limiting beliefs. And I've done it over and over and over. And today it doesn't feel like a death. It feels like jumping realities. Sharon used to use that term. We can jump realities. That's what it's feeling like now when I surrender. My ego is out of the way. And that's my biggest problem, is my ego. And when I am out of the way, I am absolutely neutral to whatever the issue is, whether it's my health or someone else's health, whether it's the politics, whether it's family issues, whether it's what do I want to do tomorrow? What do I want to do today? My best results are when I completely emotionally surrender and I am neutral to whatever happens. And that has taken years to get past the fear of being that vulnerable, to just be open to accepting what comes next. Terrifying. But it's a journey. And being in these circles gave me the courage to blindly go where I have never been before. And I find it challenging and scary and fascinating and rewarding and satisfying, and I don't know what else. So that's my experience up to today. And by the end of the circle, I may have changed my mind about one or two or three things. That happens a lot. So the circle is open, and I would really like to hear from each of you. It's so good to be with you. Thank you.
So when you said surrender, I chuckled because I'm in another group of experiencers on Tuesday, and surrender came up in that group as well. And it used to be for me personally that surrender meant waving the white flag and giving up. Giving up. Well, when everything happened not this fall, the past fall with my daughter, I thought I'd die, but I surrendered. And it was crushing. But in that crushing, it was liberating because I gave up any expectation. I gave up any identity of myself as anything. It's just the world fell apart to come back together in the surrender. That's the best I can describe it. And in the surrendering, I became more complete and more whole because I just gave it all up and gave it all in and just literally said, okay, this is it. I'm literally giving it in. I don't, I'm, was it was like a prayer, but not a prayer. It's like, okay, here you go. It's all yours. It's all yours to the teams and everything. And in reflection, I'm a totally different person after that surrender. After that whole experience, I am not the same person. I'm not the same woman. And I'm glad. So for me, surrendering was really difficult. Like I would look up the dictionary definition. I would look up other people's perceptions of surrender. But for me, it was the best thing that happened to me was to surrender it all. Just to surrender it all. And in that surrendering, I'm becoming more complete. And in the surrendering, I'm breathing in every now moment and not projecting on the past, not projecting in the future. It's just here and now. And it feels different. So that's what surrender is for me. So I'm complete.
I totally resonate with what you say. I had the big surrender where I could not take care of myself and I had to be hospitalized, and everything was taken away from me in terms of my own perspective of any kind of agency or any kind of control. And what I had to go with was just trust. It was just trust, which didn't come easily, but it was like, well, it's like, okay, now I'm in my big D drama. Let's see how this plays out, because I have nothing, no ability to choose time or pretty much what kind of meds I was going to take. And when I came out of that, realizing that I came out of it, realizing that in some crazy, weird way, the universe did have my back. And it has totally changed my outlook on life. Where I get hung up, though, in the smaller surrenders is setting an intention. And then I do believe Spirit for me wants me to do some type of action, but where do I stop that action and let go of it? And how much action do I do? So that can be confusing, and it probably depends how emotionally attached I am to it, that I'll continue trying an action to, if it's not a huge issue for me, okay, it's not right this time, so I'm just going to let go of that. It's something that I am attached to or want badly, I'll keep trying actions. You need to think about, wanting my body to be in a certain way, and that, until the point that I go totally down the toilet, I have agency to make some decisions. But as much as I'm able to let go of the timing of things, the place, the people, the expectations, what I'm finding more and more is that those intentions do come to fruition. It's just I have no idea when, how, and to what degree. So it's kind of fascinating to watch that unfold. It's definitely not a, I mean, the whole society, as you say, characterizes it as a defeat. But I don't think it is a defeat. And it's a great topic, Sue. Thank you. I'm complete.
I'd like to go. I can relate to everything everyone said so far, that it just is a time when there's nothing left and surrender happens, or needs to happen, and sometimes happens. For me right now, the surrender, on just to expand on things you haven't said already, for me, time is a big surrender. It seems like, I don't know, maybe before COVID it was true also, but during COVID, you never knew what was going to happen, what was going to cancel. You could make plans, they could fall through. I have plans today to babysit my grandson, and the times change. So right now he's sleeping, and if he wakes up, I have to go. So I just surrender to it, because I really, it doesn't do any good to fight it. And um I think that one of the things that I've learned to help me surrender is just to allow an oxytocin breath and up here, and just, oh, and when I let go and I relax my body, then I could just say, okay, I let go. And I think this is a unity phrase. I let go, I let God. And all else is out of my control. And that's it. And I find that very helpful. I have a little reminder that says, let go, let God. So for me, that what keeps me sane. Well, I don't know if I'm sane, but it keeps me not long. It makes things okay to get through another day. Just in reminding myself to surrender that which I have no control over, and that which I can kind of tell if I'm getting worked up, like I got to make this happen. I got to do this. Then it's like, that's probably, a part of the ego, and it causes me unhealth and dis-ease. So that's my signals, and I am complete.
I think that surrender for me is associated with freedom. You've done everything, you've thought everything, you've been angry about everything, you've been happy about everything, you've been anxious, you've been this, you've been that, you've done it all. You come to the point where you do that oxytocin breath and you just say, I'm done. I'm done. It's not mine anymore. And then suddenly you feel like, yes. And you have all this energy, you have this time, you have this emotional bandwidth to put into other things. And I suppose that that's where they come up with the phrase sweet surrender. Yeah, getting to that point is a lot of work sometimes. But once you hit that point, I think the reward is definitely there. Now, if only we were able to discern right at the beginning, this is not mine, or I have no control over this anyway. Boop. We might be better off, but maybe not. Maybe we need to experience all that we put ourselves through in getting there. But for me, when I finally get to that point, it's usually freedom. And I'm complete.
I'm really having trouble with my Wi-Fi. If you see me going in and out, I keep losing, coming back. And I just moved to a different place in the house, hoping that it'll stay on, but I'm not sure. Um, I will try to surrender to this thing just not working. So I think about times in my life when I think I've reached the place of surrender, and I wonder if it's not so much surrender, it happens to me. I have
Lynn,
no choice.
Lynn, can I interrupt you for a minute? Try turning your camera off.
Uh-huh.
Sometimes that makes the connection stronger because you're breaking up. Okay? Yeah. And then talk.
You were saying to
Keep talking.
can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, it just went out again. My whole Wi-Fi, just the whole Zoom disappeared. So I don't know if you can hear me, but messing with my mind. It's making it hard for me to focus on what I want to say. So I think I'm just gonna um, and try to deal with this.
Thank you for trying, Lynn.
I can go then. Last night, I think I was pretty much asleep, and I realized that I had this thought that I have some anger related to past issues, and in a second I decided, okay, I accept it. I will stay in, and then whoops, it was gone. So I think for me, surrender is just to accept. Because sometimes I wake up in the morning and I think of the past and I think, I don't like that person. I don't like that person. And but I don't see them anymore. It's like they're not in my life, but I still have this resentment. Anyway, but so I guess I'm starting this process of accepting the resentment. Okay, that's all.
Alexandra, do you want to share anything on surrender?
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Well, first of all, I just tuned in today for the first time in several weeks because I've been so busy and I didn't know what the topic was going to be. And it turns out it's a topic that I needed to hear. And I am going through a period of my life that I'm so busy that I don't know what to do. And I'm trying to figure out how to take better care of myself mentally, physically, emotionally, spiritually. And I'm trying to figure out what it is I can let go of. And I suppose the only thing that I have done recently that has been a form of surrender is that I have let go of some people in my family, and I have a humongous family. Most of them Trump supporters, and I had backed off, but my husband and I realized we live down here close to where mom and dad had the farm, and so we made a decision to get more involved with the 9th generation of Let's, because I'm the 6th generation and their age ranges from 2 to 7. Well, that's what has happened. Make a long story short, I've gotten involved with them. We've really had some fun times. But it turns out that there's just 2 women in the family that absolutely despise me. I've never mentioned Trump to them. I've never done anything to hurt them. And I realize it's very, very difficult to be around that energy. I'm an empath anyway. And so I said, you know what? I'm just going to quit going to church with the family right now. Just it's it's a good church with good people, but I don't like getting back from church and having a nasty letter from a family member on Facebook, private mail. So I guess I'm trying to figure out what to surrender. And one thing I have realized is I don't have time for people that no matter what I do, they're not going to love me. And not only that, they're going to be negative towards me. They're going to trash me to other family members. And so that's been a big aha, that I thought that I was ready to go back, but I'm not sure I can deal with certain people in the family. And it's not a matter of who's taking sides or anything, but I'm looking at that. And then in the community, I'm trying to figure out what to surrender. I think some of you know that I've written a weekly column for 23 years. And right now I'm just got so many obligations because it's the 150th birthday of our town. So I'm involved with that. And, but also the Democratic Party. I grew up with Democrats. We were, now the Republican Party has taken over in Lee County, and it's just horrible. And some of y'all may have heard on the news, we've got the worst candidate running for governor that's ever run in the history of the United States. And we do not know how this happened. Fortunately, even though the legislature is Republican, we've always had a Democrat as a governor. So now we're looking at a guy who says there's no Holocaust. Women don't need to be leaders in the church. And he's leading in the polls. We're just baffled. So that's been blowing my mind. And then the Republican candidate for superintendent of public instruction is somebody that literally wants to destroy the school system. She says that all the schools are just indoctrinating students into being liberal. So I just feel like I'm bombarded by all this energy. And of course, last week I had to write something about the Democrats, but and I will continue to support them, but I can't seem to get the local people to understand that this is the most important election we've ever had, not only in North Carolina, but in the United States. And so I'm holding on to a lot of stress because there's so many things I want to do to help, but there's just simply not enough hours in the day. So I appreciate the comments about surrender. It's good to see. I think I know most of you. I hope you haven't forgotten me. And I think you know that I got Deb Mangus involved in the group, and that Deb has lost her husband, Terry. So just a lot going on in everybody's lives. And I guess the only thing we can do is surrender, because what's going on in the world is too big. It's just too big. And if we think we're going to be able to change it, it takes a lot of time and energy. And so I don't know what the answer is, but I think it's got to be spiritual, because It's too crazy otherwise. And I don't know how many of you know what's going on in the United States, but we're the closest we've ever been to a dictatorship. And people are just not seeing it. So that's what's on my mind today.
It's nice to have you back, Alexandra. It's been a while.
I
And,
know.
Lynn, did you want to try sharing again?
What you
I don't
doing?
think so. I don't think so. I've just moved into a different space struggling with this. So I'm just going to listen.
Okay. Okay. So at this time, if you are all agreeable, we will do a 20-minute meditation. And you can meditate on surrender or anything else that is on your mind. This is a space to support you. And we will just spend the time in silence since we've kind of set ourselves for this being the next step with all our shares. Thank you so much for those shares. And we will start now. And if you don't mind keeping your cameras on, the energy connects beautifully. Thank you. So, to be continued, right?
Thank you, Sue.
Thank you, Sue. It was a good topic today.
Thank you. Thank you for everybody being here. Good to see you.
Thanks, Sue.
Thank you.
Until the
Thanks,
next show. Thank you.